"We don't want your drama at the table," my mom snapped. Minutes later, my brother texted, "Guess it's finally a holiday without dead weight." I smiled, shut down the utility accounts, and froze every payment I'd been covering. By Black Friday, their lights were out and their cards declined everywhere. "We don't want your drama at the table, Noah." Mom's voice cut through the hum of the kitchen like a knife through glass. The smell of burnt gravy hung in the air. Half-empty wine glasses, laughter dying mid-breath, silverware clinking against fine china. I stood near the doorway, one hand still on the chair I hadn't been invited to sit in. Dad looked up from his phone, not at me, but at Mom, a silent order passing between them. "Elaine," he said, "don't start this again. He's here. Let him eat." She turned toward me. "Eat? After everything he's done?" Lila, my sister, crossed her legs and smirked. "It's okay, Mom. He likes pretending to be the victim. Let him play it." I didn't respond. I just moved closer, set my phone face down on the table, and said quietly, "I came because you asked me to." Dad's tone sharpened. "We asked you to stop avoiding your family. But if you're here to cause trouble—" "Trouble?" I said softly. "You mean truth?" The room went still. Mom's hand trembled as she reached for her glass. "You know what you did, Noah." I looked around the table. Their faces looked carved from the same stone. Confident, cold, certain. "I know exactly what I did," I said. Then I smiled slightly. "Do you?" "I'm Noah Hale, 27, the quiet one, the helper, the one who kept things running. At least, that's what they said when they needed something. For years, I fixed cars I didn't drive, paid bills I didn't owe, and showed up for birthdays where my name was barely mentioned. They loved my silence. It kept their comfort intact. But silence has a shelf life, and mine had expired. I wasn't here for food. I was here for closure, and maybe, finally, a little justice. Family snapshots. Dad, Martin Hale, 58, ex-military, now runs a contracting firm. A man who treats kindness like weakness. Mom, Elaine Hale, 55, fragile voice, heavy guilt. She decorates guilt with soft tones and floral perfumes. Lila, 30, my sister, golden child since birth. Knows how to twist love until it sounds like a favor. Evan, her husband, 33, self-made, self-absorbed, self-justifying. The kind of man who calls others family only when he needs help moving furniture. Every family dinner felt like an unpaid audition. For affection, for acceptance, for belonging. And I'd been failing that audition for years. Dad finally put his phone down. "Let's get this out. Where's the money?" I frowned. "What money?" "The joint account. The one your mother uses for the house. It's empty." Lila leaned forward. "We know you transferred it. Just admit it." I looked at her. Calm. "That account was already empty." "I know, because I've been filling it for 2 years." Dad blinked. "What?" "Electricity. Mortgage. Insurance. Even your car payment, Lila. You think those covered themselves?" Mom's face went pale. "Noah, that's not fair." "No," I said. "What's not fair is you all pretending I don't help while living off my help." Evan scoffed. "You sound paranoid." "Do I?" I turned to him. "Want me to remind you whose name was on the insurance papers after your accident last spring?" He froze. "Yeah," I said. "Mine." The room fell silent, a silence thicker than guilt. And still, Dad whispered, "You're lying." I smiled faintly. "Then I guess your emails must be lying too." Evan stood. "You're making things up." I tilted my head. "Sit down, Evan. You're not good at this." Lila slammed her fork down. "You think you're some kind of saint? You've always been jealous. Dad trusted you with the business, and you blew it." My jaw tightened. "I didn't blow it," I said slowly. "I saved it. You blew through the funds after Dad transferred the assets behind my back." Dad's face reddened. "Watch your mouth." I leaned forward, calm but sharp. "You made me sign those papers 3 years ago, remember? You said they were for refinancing. But they weren't. They were a full transfer. Mom gasped. Martin, tell me that's not true. Dad's silence was louder than thunder. I looked at all of them. I lost everything that day. My savings, my apartment, my credit. And you all acted like it was my fault. Mom whispered, we did it for the family. I met her eyes. You mean you did it for them? And for the first time, she looked away. It was raining that night. The kind of rain that washes out voices. Dad called urgent. If you don't sign now, Noah, we'll lose the house. Your mom's panicking. So I drove through flooded streets, still wearing my work apron from the diner. He handed me papers. I didn't read them. I trusted him. I signed. And in one signature, my entire account, $82,000, disappeared. 2 weeks later, I saw Lila on social media. New condo. Families moving up. I didn't confront them. I just sent the next payment for Mom's medication and said nothing. Because sons fix things. Even when they're the ones broken. Back at the table, I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out a folder. What's that? Dad snapped. Proof, I said simply. Inside, bank transfers, copies of emails, and a printed message thread between Dad and Evan discussing liquidating assets from Mom's side of the family. Lila's fork slipped from her hand. You went through our files? No. You sent them to me, I said quietly. Dad forwarded them by accident last spring. Remember? Dad's voice faltered. That was business. You mean betrayal, I said. You tried to sell the only property Mom's father left her. Mom's hand shook as she reached for the folder. Her face went white. You were selling it. Dad didn't answer. Lila whispered, You knew all this? I looked at each of them. Every lie, every transfer, every word you said about me behind my back, I kept it all. The room erupted. Mom crying, Dad shouting, Lila defending, Evan blaming. But I didn't move. I let it burn. When their words finally ran out, I spoke, quietly, but with enough weight to pull the air from the room. I gave you all my silence. Tonight, I give you the truth. They turned toward me. You made me believe I was the problem. You let me pay for everything, then called me ungrateful. You sold what wasn't yours and told me family means sacrifice. Mom whispered. We didn't mean... Yeah, I said softly. You did. Dad opened his mouth to shout again, but Mom stood between us, trembling. Martin, stop. He didn't, so I did what I should have done years ago. I walked out. The night air hit me like freedom. Cold, clean, and quiet. By the time I reached my car, my phone buzzed. A message from Lila. Guess it's finally a holiday without dead weight. I stared at it for a moment. Then I opened my banking app. One by one, I shut down every utility, every payment, every card tied to my name. Mortgage, frozen, electricity, cancelled, auto payments, gone. They'd wake up tomorrow to a house full of lights that wouldn't turn on. And for once, I didn't feel guilty. Weeks later, my life felt unfamiliar, but peaceful. A small apartment, quiet mornings, no calls asking for just a little help. I still thought about Mom sometimes, the way she always tried to balance guilt with excuses. I knew she'd call eventually. And she did. Her voice was small. Noah, we didn't realize how much you carried. I stared out the window, watching sunlight slide across the floor. I know, I said. That was the point. She cried softly. I didn't hang up. I just listened, long enough to know she finally understood what silence costs. And when the call ended, I whispered to the empty air. For the first time, I don't carry their weight anymore. If you were Noah, would you forgive them? Or would you walk away for good? Tell me in the comments. What would you do? Like if you've ever been the quiet one who finally spoke up. Subscribe for more stories where silence finally gets its turn to speak. Because sometimes revenge isn't rage, it's release.